Of course, I want Jason Grace to return, but if he comes back to life, there has to be a massive, massive sacrifice. And I think that if Jason Grace comes back to life, in exchange, both Hazel and Frank should die. They should die. And sure, let them live happily ever after in paradise. And I'm sure Pluto would arrange that for his daughter. And Hazel and Frank, they both should have died because Frank's wood fire it burned out, and Hazel actually did die and come back. So Frank and Hazel should have died, and so they should die. So it'd be nice if Frank and Hazel maybe went down to see Death himself, and they have a personal relationship with Death because they rescued Death. So they might say, "Hey, Death, why don't you remember how we rescued you from prison? Why don't you take us with you and give us back and return our friend Jason?" So Hazel and Frank decide to sacrifice themselves, and Jason Grace returns to the world of the living. Jason Grace returns to life. And also, Death should also release Esperanza Valdez, Leo's mother. Leo Valdez's mother, Esperanza, should come back to life as well. So Frank and Hazel both die, and Frank and Hazel can be with Hazel's mom and Frank's grandma, and of course Frank's great grandpa, the one who did not cause the fire, or like whatever it was. But yeah, so Hazel's mom and Frank's grandma can all be reunited with Hazel and Frank in paradise, whereas Jason Grace and Esperanza Valdez return, which would make Leo so happy. He would be ecstatic, and he would be so happy. And Esperanza would be very happy to see Leo alive and well, and she would be happy to see Calypso as well. And of course, I guess Esperanza would be a little surprised that Leo is dating an actual goddess and not a person. So, but I think she would come to terms with it. And what would also be nice is if Leo Valdez and Esperanza both became immortal, so that Esperanza can, be with Hephaestus and Leo, and Leo can be with Calypso eternal for all eternity, because Calypso is, I don't know if she lost her immortal powers. I actually haven't read the Trials of Paula series, so it's ironic that I'm making a video on it since I've read it. But yes, so Leo, Esperanza, Calypso can all live happily ever after as immortals. Jason Grace can return, and hopefully he gets with Reina. And hopefully Jason Grace and Reina can have something going on and have a good thing going. And, Percy Jackson refused to become immortal because he didn't want to leave Annabeth Chase behind. And also Percy wanted to force the gods to be nicer to their demigod children. And so those are the two reasons he refused to be immortal. But what if Annabeth also became immortal with him? What if Percy Jackson and Annabeth both became immortal so that they could live forever? And of course, the gods are already paying attention to their demigod children now, so they've accomplished what they wanted. So Percy Jackson and Annabeth Chase both decide to become immortal. And so Percy and Annabeth are immortal, and they're living happily. Or you know what? Actually, never mind. Totally scratch that, because Percy also has his mom and his stepdad, Paul, and his new sister. So yeah, no, maybe they wouldn't want to be immortal unless they all became immortal. That would be interesting. Yep. Now, as for Piper, I actually agree that Piper and Jason should not be together. I do think it was selfish of Piper and incredibly cold and heartless for her to do that to Jason, but I do agree that Jason was too good for her. So Jason should, as I said, be with Reina. And on the subject, Of course, Piper would be very sad if Jason came back to life only to get with Reina, but she would have to learn to deal with it. Um, as for Nico, hopefully he meets someone and lives happily ever after, and maybe Nico also becomes immortal and works for his father Hades forever. And maybe Nico's mother also comes back to life. Yeah, I mean, Nico's sister, Bianca, already chose to be reincarnated, so she won't be coming back. I mean, she's already come back as someone else with totally new memories, so there's that. Yeah, maybe Nico's mother comes back, or maybe Pluto Hades finds a loophole and decides to make Nico's mother immortal, and also Nico immortal, so that they can. It's not up there like it. No, I mean, what's really funny about the Heroes of Olympus series is that how they really blur the lines between living and dying, and they just made like death basically a joke, which is funny, and I like it, to be clear. So, yeah, that'd be interesting. So hopefully, all the stuff I said happens. I know most of it probably won't, all of it probably won't, but if I were in charge, that would be what would happen. Anyway. Hopefully everyone does well and ends up living happily ever after, which never happens, but I would hope it does.